Ah, shit. Schlep is in danger. Schlep versus Parlo. Here we go again.
This is honestly a video I didn't really think I'd be making again, and there's one main reason for that. What we're about to talk about is a situation that completely blew up on Twitter over the past few days, involving Schlep, a group of PDF files, and someone who hasn't really been around for the past 6 months. A Roblox YouTuber I'm sure all of you know as Arla. Now over the past week, Schlep has been getting non-stop attacked by a group of these people were telling him to off himself, falsely labeled him as and even made disgusting drawings of him as a child where they him while being fully aware that he was on Roblox. Then it gets even worse. The Roblox YouTuber Parlo suddenly came back and dropped a document accusing Schlep of defending, and those same accounts who were attacking Schlep immediately ran with the story. They started spreading it everywhere, with some posts hitting over 1.5 million views, and now it's turned into people straight up saying that Schlep is or that he's best friends with one. There's a lot to go over in this video, and a lot that needs to be broken down properly so people actually understand what's going on here. If you find this video informative, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and share this video whether that's through DMs or by using YouTube's hype feed. And with that being said, let's get into the whole situation. So the first thing I want to get into in this video is how this entire situation even started in the first place, because a lot of people are jumping into this without actually understanding where all this came from. This all really started on March 30th when Gideon, who is known for doing catching content, made a tweet basically calling out saying that they are. Then, the very next day on March 31st, Schlep follows this up and posts a tweet that really sets everything off. He says, if you yourself to images of animated children, you're a. The fact that X or Twitter allows a community of these people to thrive on here is very shocking. The moment that tweet got out there, everything completely exploded, because if you go into the replies of that tweet, it's just flooded with people trying to push back against what he said, and not in a normal way either. You have people replying to him saying things like therapists and psychiatrists and even laws in most countries disagree with him, trying to act like this is some kind of widely accepted thing. Then you've got other people straight up mocking anyone who's against the idea of sexual children, which is honestly insane when you actually try to think about it. Like, this is not a complicated issue, and yet you've got people trying to turn it into one. And it gets even worse than that, because some of these people are literally just self-reporting. There are replies where people are openly saying things like they've been into this stuff since they were a child themselves, which is just insane to even admit publicly. On top of that, you also have people trying to abuse Twitter's community notes system to push a completely false narrative. There were notes being suggested claiming that Schlep was saying fiction itself is, which is not what he said at all. His point was clearly about people who are actively themselves to depictions of children, and those are two completely different things. So these people are basically just trying to justify this behavior while at the same time twisting what Schlep said to make him look unreasonable. And this is where Schlep doubles down later that same day. He follows it up by saying that he stands with Gideon, and then adds that he can't even count how many he's caught that have ended up having some form of child. And that right there is basically the core of his argument. The idea that this content isn't just harmless or isolated, but it can lead to actual behavior in real cases. Now, of course, people immediately tried to flip this into a he can't tell fiction from reality thing, but that's not what's happening here at all. The point he's making is about the behavior surrounding it, not just the existence of it. And while all this is going on, you also have people like Chibi Reviews entering the situation and taking it even further. Chibi Reviews is very clearly on the pro side in this entire situation, openly defending it, and even going as far as announcing that they are going to make a full video defending it. But it doesn't stop there, because instead of just arguing their point, they actually start to repost some of the most disturbing content imaginable, which only makes the situation even worse. At that point, it's not even about defending it anymore, they're actively platforming it. Now, things couldn't get any worse. This is where the situation turns into a direct back and forth between Schlep and Parlo, and this is where everything really starts to spiral, because during all of this, Schlep ends up responding to someone and brings up the claim that Parlo dated. For context, this is referring to the dupe situation, which I already covered in a previous video. This was a catfishing situation where dupe lied about their age, Parlo got arrested, and eventually investigators confirmed that no crime was committed. So while the situation was obviously bad, Parlo's not a for that. And this is important because schlep later acknowledged that this was misrepresented and backed off that claim, but at the time, this tweet is what pulls Parlo back into this situation, because right after that, Parlo makes his first real appearance on Twitter in months and immediately goes on the offensive. He responds calling schlep pathetic, accusing him of defending and saying he can't wait for his downfall. And from there, things escalated at an insane rate, because instead of just arguing back and forth on Twitter, Parlo took it a step further and he brought back his document. Now, the context here is actually pretty important. This isn't a brand new document. This is basically just a continuation of the document Parlo originally made back in January, where he accused multiple people of being under a different alias, and that original document already caused some serious problems for him. RVVZ, one of the people he spoke about in that document, took legal action against Parlo and forced him to publicly apologize. And Minitoons has also been considering legal action as well for how he described Minitoons in that document. So Parlo already has a track record this year of making major allegations that resulted in legal problems. But now, after being called out by schlep, he brought back his document, edited it, removed the parts that got him into trouble, and shifted the entire focus onto one person, Ace the narrator, trying to tie schlep into it. And to be clear, the document itself is real and it's 30 pages long, and it goes into a lot of detail about the allegations against Ace, and after going through it, I'll say it straight up without covering anything up, the behavior shown in that document is disgusting. There are messages showing Ace when he was around 14 to 15, allegedly trying to get images from, along with multiple conversations showing behavior and pressure. So Ace the narrator is a pretty freaky dude, that's pretty clear from this document. But here's where the problem starts. Parlo takes all of that and then tries to turn it into a completely different claim, that schlep is best friends with him, actively working with him, and even defending what he did. And there just isn't any real evidence for that, because when you look at what happened, it tells a completely different story. Schlep has stated that Ace hasn't been in any of his content since November, that he wasn't an employee, just someone who did voice acting, and that once things started getting weird, he distanced himself and stopped working with him entirely. Even early on, when schlep first heard about the allegations, he was trying to figure out what was actually going on, because everything he had was third or fourth hand information. So instead of defending Ace, what actually happened is that he didn't have full context at first, and then once things became clearer, he cut him off, and that completely—
Holy fucking shit. I'm gonna have a field day. Alright, number one, predators and moral line. If you're a predator and you like fucking or sexualizing children, please, and I mean please, rethink your life choices. Go get some mental help. You really do need it. And if you are a predator, this message is for you. Go get mental help. That's all I gotta say. Number two, obviously, idiots trying to say I am something that I'm not. I've had people trying to claim the same shit. Here's one problem. Proof, substance, they lack it. If there is substance, it's usually AI generated or faked, which I could easily debunk all of those because of how easy it is. They don't make it that hard. Number three, which is surprisingly the most valid thing I could say right now. If you're a vigilante, it depends on how you are acting, the stakes at hand, and what your main goal truly is. If you are pure evil to this point, you're not much of a vigilante, you're just there for whatever it is. If you have a good reason to do something, do it, but don't get yourself into too much harm trying. I mean, seriously. Technically, we're all vigilantes here because we're calling out predators, we're calling out bad actors, and we're holding a moral line when big companies fail to do their job and when authorities fail. But look, make sure the authorities are on your side. Make sure you're not doing something that's against the law. It's okay to break platform rules, but never break the law. And when I mean it's okay to break platform rules, I mean it's not okay unless the platform is failing to do their job and you need to do it yourself to protect yourself and others. As we, the people, deserve to have a right to protect ourselves. I'd like to make it clear. If anyone claims someone as a predator, P3, pedophile, EDP, or however you call it, let's make it clear. If there's no substance, don't go along with the narrative. If the substance was debunked, don't keep thinking it's real if it's actually debunked successfully. And to continue on with this statement, let's watch what they got to say.
That completely contradicts what Parlo is trying to claim, but Parlo didn't stop there. He started replying to multiple people with this document, including accounts that are already attacking schlep, and many of those accounts are openly defending. So instead of handling this responsibly, he made it a million times worse by handing those people ammunition and fueling the situation even further. And that's kind of a key point here. This wasn't really just Parlo randomly exposing something out of nowhere. This happened directly after he was called out, and it comes off more like retaliation than anything else. Because at the end of the day, even if the allegations against Ace are true, which it kind of does look like they are true, there's still no solid proof that Schlep was defending those actions or continuing to associate with him after knowing everything. In reality, everything actually points to the opposite. Schlep cut him off in February, stopped working with him, and was never actually friends with him the way Parlo was trying to frame. So what ended up happening is that the real allegations about one person get used to build an entirely different narrative about someone else without the evidence to even back it up. And that's exactly how this situation spiraled out of control. Because once that document started spreading around, everything just completely blew up. You had multiple accounts on Twitter reposting it over and over again, pushing the exact same narrative, that Schlep was somehow defending, or even worse, that he was one himself. There was actually one tweet in particular that literally just said, "Hey Schlep, what is this?" with the document attached, and that tweet alone pulled over 18,000 likes and 1.5 million views. And it wasn't just a singular tweet. There were multiple accounts doing the same exact thing, reposting the document, farming engagement off of it, and pushing it to as many people as possible. Some of these people were already known for defending this type of content, and they were using this document as ammunition to go after Schlep. And what makes this even worse is that some of these people clearly didn't even read the document. They weren't breaking anything down, they weren't analyzing it, they were just jumping straight to the conclusion saying, yeah, Schlep is a and just leaving it at that. No context, no proof, just straight up labeling him and spreading it to hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions of people. And the craziest part is that the document didn't even accuse Schlep of being a pedophile. It accused someone Schlep used to work with. But this doesn't stop here either, because on top of the accusations, it started getting way more disturbing. People began making drawings of Schlep as a child, trying to turn him into a character, despite the fact that he was as a kid on Roblox. And I want to be very clear here, the stuff I can actually show on screen is only surface level, because while researching this, I came across way worse images that I genuinely can't show on here. The one thing that Schlep himself posted is already bad enough, but there are other examples that go way further than that. And that's what makes this whole thing so disgusting. This isn't just people arguing online anymore. This turned into straight up harassment, false accusations spreading to millions of people, and people crossing the line into genuinely disgusting, disturbing behavior. And all of this came from a narrative that was built off of a document that people didn't even properly read. Now, since all that happened, it looks like Schlep pretty much stepped away from Twitter entirely, or at least for now, and honestly, I don't blame him. Because at this point, the platform has just turned into people being completely unreasonable, and a lot of it is coming from these accounts that have completely lost their minds and are now just flat out spreading misinformation about it. It's gotten to a point where there's not even any real discussion happening anymore. It's just attacks, lies, and people dogpiling for attention. Now, on top of that, I also looked further into the Ace the Narrator situation, and it got even worse, because aside from everything that was already shown in that document, there are also allegations that Ace was sending videos that looked normal at first, but were actually hiding extremely graphic and illegal content once you played them. After that information got out there, Ace the Narrator appears to have completely deactivated his account. So right now, nobody really knows what he's doing or where he went, but I'll say this clearly. If any of this is true, that's something that needs to be reported to the proper authorities immediately, whether that's NCMEC or just his local police department, because this goes way beyond internet drama, considering he's literally spreading this stuff to other children. As for Schlep, I did see some tweets where he's mentioned that he's planning on making a response to all this, so we'll have to wait and see what he said. And Parlo, on the other hand, is still going on. He's been saying that he's planning on dropping more documents or continuing the situation even further, so it doesn't look like this is completely over yet. But as of right now, this is where everything stands. But anyway, that's gonna be it for today.
Alright, before we end this video off, I would like to say a few important things. Number one, if you are coming to my channel, whether new or old, you are expected to follow the WWolf right policies. You can read it because it's accessible and transparent. Your failure to do so will hold you accountable, not me. Furthermore, if bad actors continue, I will target them. I personally target bad actors and have no mercy. The reason is not to go against YouTube's community guidelines. The reason is not to be a problem. It's to dismantle bad narratives, bad communications, and people who just don't belong within the YouTube space, as it seems YouTube lacks the substance of moderation. I'd like to also make it clear that predators aren't welcome on this channel. If I find out that you are an actual predator and there's real evidence on it, I'm gonna just ban the living shit out of you and make sure to throw you off of YouTube myself. And let's make it extra clear. If you want relevant data regarding me or my community, you got my Wix website, my Wix space, and you also got my link tree. or link page, whatever I have at the time, since I'm kind of going back and forth. With that said, hope you have a good day. Have a good night. Love you all. Not in a weird way, but conditionally and unconditionally. Peace.